16 by 9, the bigger picture.
How old is too old to drive?
The woman said, I didn't know what I hit until I got out of the car and saw the bodies on the road.
I wish I had seen them. Oh, I wish I had seen them.
16 by 9 put the ages to the test. Oh, God.
That's all coming up on 16 by 9. Here's Mary Garofalo.
Good evening and welcome to 16 by 9, the bigger picture. Did you know that in most North American cities, you can be 100 years old and rent a car, drive a taxi, or simply drive every day? There is no age cap, and a lot of people aren't happy about it. Tonight, 16 by 9 examines if age really matters when you're behind the wheel, and how old is too old for the road. This is what happened when 81-year-old Betty Greenbury of Australia lost control of her car, striking this man, Andrew Leach, standing on the sidewalk holding his baby son Hayden.
They hit me son. He's not fixable.
The baby was unharmed, but Andrew broke his leg, and Mrs. Greenbury was charged with negligent driving.
Yes, there's a car going the wrong way on I-40.
And watch this police video of 80-year-old Margaret Riley from North Carolina. She drove her car 14 miles in the opposite direction of a busy highway.
I got on the wrong side and I kept going on.
She was never charged. And here's Sergeant A.W. Wydell trying to get the attention of this elderly man who was also going the wrong way on a busy highway. When police finally stopped the car, they found the driver, 73-year-old Israel Earnhardt, quite shaken up. In Canada, the laws regarding seniors and driving are pretty lax. Some provinces don't start testing seniors till they're 75 or 80. And then again, it's only a written exam and an eye test. And still other provinces have no mandatory testing at all. 38-year-old Meritus Mendoza was a beautiful bride the day she married James Alganoff.
Today is the day when they will be joined together through holy matrimony.
Meritus had everything to live for, and she lived for her children, 4-year-old Sierra and her newborn baby boy Jacob. But all that changed on January 12th, 2010. Meritus was enjoying an afternoon stroll with her 12-week-old son in a carriage. As she crossed the street, police say a car driven by 83-year-old Edith Jones ran the red light, hitting Meritus full impact. According to Constable Hugh Smith, the senior driver never stopped.
She was dragged for 10 to 15 meters. So she ended up in the middle of the intersection and she was still trapped underneath the vehicle.
Meritus was able to push her baby out of the way, but the car managed to clip the stroller, sending Jacob tumbling out onto the ground. Luckily, he survived. Meritus was pronounced dead on the scene, leaving behind a devastated family, all too distraught to even speak to us for this story. Constable Smith, do you think her age had anything to do with this?
You know, age, it comes in a factor. At some point, we do know that as we do get older, our decision-making process, our depth of perception, our reaction times, they all start to decrease.
Police charged Mrs. Jones with careless driving. That means, if found guilty, she may only have to pay a nominal fine and lose demerit points. She is also still allowed to drive. In fact, despite this fatal accident, 16 by 9 found Mrs. Jones right back behind the wheel of her car, driving again. Our producer tried to get some answers from the 83-year-old driver.
I feel terrible. It haunts me night and day. What do you think? I'll get that thing out of my face.
Say something.
How you doing? Not bad.
And last November, the Gordier family of Kingston was getting ready to celebrate a special birthday bash. Their sister Julie, the youngest in a family of 8, had turned 40. Julie was born with Down syndrome and lived with her parents, Nita and Bill Gordier. But Julie was the heart of the family. Julie loved to perform and was crazy about watching horror flicks. And since her oldest sister, Catherine, a film director and writer, is married to Canadian film producer Don Carmody, the whole family got together to plan a ghoulishly fun surprise party, one Julie would never forget.
We just really wanted to give her a surprise party that she'd love.
And while the family waited to yell surprise, they had no idea fate would have a cruel surprise in store for them. Catherine Gordier and her brother-in-law David Little sat down with 16 by 9 to share their devastating experience. They say Julie and her parents had gone to Mass that night. They lived directly across the street from the church. And as they crossed the road to return home, 85-year-old Kate Martin was also driving home. That's when their worlds collided.
My mother was in front of the headlights long enough to say, "Bill, he's not going to stop."
According to the family, the car driving at the speed limit of 60 kilometers an hour hit Nita and Julie Gordier head on and never braked.
The officer said that the woman said, "I didn't know what I hit until I got out of the car and saw the bodies on the road." That's what you have headlights for, so you can see what's in front of you.
Bill Gordier's life was spared only because he was one step ahead of his wife and daughter.
He said Julie was ripped from my hand. He saw Mom rolling down the road.
Nita was pronounced dead on the scene. Julie was taken to the hospital in a coma.
They came in to say that my mother had died and that Julie was not going to make it and that she was brain dead. They let my family be with her for about an hour. I snuck out and went to find Julie.
It was there that Catherine had her final moments with her baby sister.
What did you say to her?
Just that we love you and we're here. And I took my niece's hands and said, come on up and hold her hand. She's still alive, feel her. Come and say goodbye to Jewel.
And while the family grieved the deaths, they learned from the police no charges would be filed against the 85-year-old driver, Kate Martin. Kingston Police Chief Steve Tanner defends the decision not to charge her.
2 people lost their lives. That's a tragedy. That's a time that we can never go back to. But it was an accident. It happened. And there was no culpability, no criminal responsibility found in our investigation or even Highway Traffic Act charges.
She definitely should have gotten a suspension or, I don't know, careless driving.
And this tragedy doesn't end here. Exactly 3 weeks after the funerals, Bill Gordier died of natural causes.
He died of a broken heart, basically, sitting in my mother's chair. He didn't want to live without his wife.
I just don't believe this happened. I still can't get over it.
For us to lose the 3 most important people in 6 weeks, in a 6-week period.
So you believe that her age played a factor in this tragic accident?
Yes, I do. If the driver had have been 40, because they probably would have reacted and the outcome would have been totally different. She didn't even see them.
The Gordier family says they have not heard from Kate Martin. But in an exclusive interview, the 85-year-old driver shares her grief with 16 by 9.
I wish I had seen them. Oh, I wish I could have seen them. That's what would be alive today.
Still to come on 16 by 9.
And I seen little Julie lying. Oh my God.
That's all coming up. Welcome back to 16 by 9, the bigger picture.
There are thousands of seniors driving our roads who haven't been tested in decades, and that has some people concerned and demanding change. We continue now with Too Old for the Road.
Oh, I would say from the bottom of my heart, I wish it had never happened.
She is the 85-year-old driver who struck and killed the Gordier family as they crossed the street after leaving church. And this is the first time Kate Martin, a retired nurse, has spoken about this tragic November night.
I wish I had seen them. Oh, I wish I could have seen them.
She says she's been driving for 54 years and has never had an accident or even a speeding ticket.
Nothing. This is why I just couldn't believe it.
She confesses she knew she shouldn't be on the road.
And I had to promise my children that I would stop driving when I was 85. But there were so many, appointments for Joan with specialists and doctors.
Mrs. Martin says that night she had to pick up a prescription for her husband John at a local pharmacy in Kingston. He was no longer able to drive because of his failing health. She says it was still daylight when she left her home, but it quickly became dark.
It was just so awful because I don't usually drive after dark, and it was still late. John needed his medication.
She admits as she made her way up the road, she never saw the Gordier family trying to cross the street.
And I seen little Julie lying, and I thought, oh my God, even her little shoes had been come off, and I got there and I was asking her what her name was, and she was talking to me, but I couldn't make out what she was saying. And I said there'd be help here soon, And then I seen the mother, and I thought, oh.
Mrs. Martin says just before the accident, she was preparing herself to take the senior's driving test for the 3rd time.
Have you been driving since this accident? Have you been in your car?
No, I stopped driving. I didn't feel comfortable at all,
Mrs. Martin says she is now in therapy.
If I had no responsibility, I'd have killed myself.
The Gordier family has not heard from Mrs. Martin, but Catherine sent her this card. It says in part, "We know it was an accident, a very tragic accident. Our healing process is very difficult. We are trying to focus on our memories."
They must hate me. And yet I can't believe it when I got that card.
And there are many Kate Martins on our roads. According to Stats Canada, seniors will outnumber children in the next 5 to 10 years.
The senior population will more than double, going from 4.6 million to 9.8 million.
Robert Tremblay is the Director of Research at the Insurance Bureau of Canada and says these statistics pose big problems for insurance companies.
After the age of 75, they get more collision than the average of all drivers. Now, you also have to look at what type of collisions do they have. And while young drivers have high-speed collisions for the most part, for senior drivers you have low-speed collisions.
So given those statistics, do the present laws protect us? And what age is the right age to start testing? Shockingly, no in-car road tests are mandatory for seniors in all of Canada. In British Columbia and Ontario, seniors begin testing at 80, but it's not a road test. In Ontario, it's a written and eye exam, and in BC, it's a medical exam. Quebec, Alberta, Newfoundland, and the Northwest Territories, testing starts at 75, and they must submit a medical report. Yukon is the strictest, with testing beginning at 70. But in Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan, seniors are not legally required to test at all.
Is 80 really an appropriate age to test? I think people are shocked to learn that it's 80. A lot of people think it should be a lot younger.
What we haven't found any evidence of is a particular age at which all people develop certain capacities or incapacities.
That's Ontario Transportation Minister Kathleen Wynne defending Ontario's senior driving policy. But it goes beyond age. Seniors with dementia and Alzheimer's are also allowed to drive, providing they pass the same test.
Nowhere in the country is a senior driver required to actually get into a car and do a road test after a certain age.
What the evidence shows, though, is that when we did have that drive test in place, the collision rate was worse than now that we've got the regime in place where there's the education component. This is their mobility, it's their independence, and so we need to do everything we can to support them to drive safely and not make arbitrary decisions about their licenses simply based on age, because there's no evidence that bears that that's the right decision.
Still to come on 16 by 9.
Stop left. That's it.
I think I hit something.
You did.
That's all coming up We're back with the bigger picture.
Who's the better driver, someone in their 20s or someone in their 70s? Well, tonight, 16 by 9 puts the question to the test, a road test, and the results may just shock you. 4 drivers, young and old, put to the test. Who is the better driver? With the help of Angelo DeChico and Jim Kilpatrick from Young Drivers of Canada, we set up this test course.
Age definitely matters with respect to our physical bodies and sometimes our cognitive abilities.
Cones were set up to simulate a single lane that forked into 2 separate lanes, one to the right and one to the left. This is how it works. The driver gets the speed up to 55 kilometers an hour, the average speed limit in most residential areas. But just as the car approaches the end of the single lane, the instructor announces which way to turn.
Stop left.
In a real-life scenario, what could happen is that split second of confusion or indecision could cost maybe a life.
First up was 41-year-old Charles Anderson, a senior network analyst.
Just coasting. Stop left.
It was his first attempt, and Charles couldn't have done any better. That was perfect, right?
It was good, yeah. You missed hitting anything, which was nice.
That's what you're hoping is driving the vehicle beside you on the 401.
Our second driver, 22-year-old Wendy Trend, a student.
Stop left. That's it. All right.
I think I hit something.
You did.
It took Wendy a few tries to get through the course.
Stop right. There we go.
And after 3 attempts, our youngest driver failed all 3 times.
Stop left. No swerve.
Hey, Wendy, what happened? Give us the run. Tell us the problems you're having.
I guess my reaction time is a little slower.
Is that surprising you?
Yes.
And Wendy is probably what you would think is your average new driver. If you freeze, bad things can happen.
Then it was time for our senior drivers to take the road test. Behind the wheel, 72-year-old Peter Ayat, a retired power lineman.
So the first cue will be off the gas when we get up to 55, so stop left. There we go.
Peter goes right instead of left, so he tries again.
Stop left. You like going to the right?
Again, the wrong direction, and this time he hits a cone.
Yeah.
Where were your mistakes?
Went the wrong way both times.
Both times.
Well, you're anticipating and what you shouldn't do
Right,
in this case.
Right.
Going left versus right could be that one bad decision that led to a consequence of other events.
Our next driver is 72-year-old Joan Sadler, a retired travel agent.
More gas, more gas, more gas. Yes, okay, we'll have to stop. Okay. All right.
I blew it.
Yeah.
Joan couldn't get the car to the required speed of 55 kilometers, so she tries it again.
Stop left.
Oh God, I even killed the kid.
On the third and final try, Joan maneuvers around the split but hits a cone. All in all 3 of her attempts failed, making Joan one frustrated driver. Joan, did you surprise yourself? I mean, did you think you were going to do better than you did?
I was nervous about the speed at 55. I really thought that, maybe I would be better at 40, 45, but 55 felt very fast.
It could have been disastrous. Hitting those 1 or 2 cones represented that kid stepping out between parked cars.
I get lots of people angry at me.
And meet Dr. Michael Gordon, the doctor whose job it is to take away a senior's driver's license.
People refer to me when there's usually a complex medical problem for which the family doctor needs help.
And that problem is determined when a senior becomes a danger on the road. According to Dr. Gordon, the present testing system mandated by the Ministry of Transportation just isn't working.
It's not just us in Ontario. It's Canada, the United States. Most countries are probably not robust enough to actually be used to find those people who are at risk.
And this man is out to prove everyone wrong. He is 87-year-old Ted Tracca, one of the oldest cab drivers in Canada.
I drive all my life, from 18 years old.
Ted has been driving for this cab company for 30 years. He works a 4 a.m. to 4 p.m. shift and says he's never had an accident or even lost a demerit point.
Do you think you're a safe driver?
Oh yes. I have customers, they know me, they like me. I open the door, they like me to go. Many customers ask me to go every day to serve them.
Paul Iradinitis is his boss. He says Ted gets tested yearly for insurance purposes, and that includes a physical as well as a written test.
Never an accident, great driver, great customer service.
Do you ever have any customers that are apprehensive to get in a car with someone who's 87 years old?
With Ted, what we get is usually compliments. What a great individual he is, well-dressed, and takes care of our clients.
How long do you think you're going to continue to drive?
So long I feel okay. If I get sick, I stop myself. I don't like to kill nobody because like my life, I like to other people's life.
I think the key here is that there are tests available to determine whether or not somebody is competent to drive, and they should be used on everybody regardless of age.
Susan Ang represents CARP, the Canadian Association for Retired People, and this issue touches a nerve.
I think it's time we got past the prejudice that someone is by definition unsafe to drive at a certain age. We need to start thinking rationally about how to test for the competency of a driver, regardless of age.
In the meantime, Catherine Gordier and her brother-in-law David Little are waging their own campaign to force provinces to change their laws, forcing seniors to take an actual driving test rather than just a vision and a written exam. They have started a website called Julie.
Julie is an acronym for just undergoing live in the car examinations. And one of the things that Ontario doesn't do is seniors that renew their licenses after 75 and 80, they don't have to actually get into a vehicle to show that they're capable of driving a car. And I think it's a problem that we need to deal with.
We're here to prevent an event like this from happening to any other family.
And for Kate Martin, the 85-year-old driver whose life will never be the same because of a tragedy she caused, this piece of advice.
And I would say to them, if you feel uncomfortable at all, you know, to just stop driving. Stop driving.
And that's it for us tonight. If you have a story idea, call us at 1-877-TEL-16-9 or visit our website at global16by9.com. I'm Mary Garafello. Thank you for watching. And from all of us here, good night.
If you've got a story idea for 16 by 9, call our tip line. 16 by 9, the bigger picture. That's a wrap.